In this video, I offer some ideas for making simple slides which don't require you to have Microsoft Office or other more sophisticated software like Photoshop. If you have Windows 7, you will have WordPad, which can be found under Start or Programs, Accessories, which you can use for a text slide. And you will have Microsoft Paint, which you can use for a graphics slide. However, you will only create slides if they are pivotal to your presentation, because they can take time to put together. Each slide then will be created because it helps to focus your audience on what you have to say or help you illustrate an important point. We will deal first with text slides. These will only list key points from your commentary. The fewer the words, the better, and large text. You don't want the audience distracted by the slide. They are there to hear you, not to read slides. Step 1 is to write your complete commentary. Then select some key points to become your anchors, about 6 words per anchor. An example can be seen in this text about Tasmanian mutton bird breeding. The anchors I selected are shown in red. Step 2 is to open your word processing software to construct a slide. You can use WordPad, which is a free cut-down version of Microsoft Word, or any other application such as OpenOffice or Serif Page Plus, whatever you have. Set up the page margins and orientation. Default margins are generally okay and need not be changed unless you really want to. Computer screens and television screens generally have a landscape orientation now, so set the orientation to landscape. These slides show how for WordPad and Microsoft Word. Next, enter your anchor text on the page window. In this slide, you can see I used 28-point text, which is too small. Also, there were too many anchors to fit 36-point text on one page. However, I could set up for several slides by making the text for all the anchors at 28-point except the last, which is 36-point, and this then becomes the last slide. Next, delete the last anchor and enlarge the font of the second last anchor to 36. This then becomes slide 2. Repeat the process for the third slide. Delete the large text anchor and enlarge the text of the third last anchor to 36-point. Working backwards in this fashion allowed me to get all 6 anchors on the final page. Of course, I only needed 6 anchors for that paragraph. This is probably the limit for one slide. Now, by exposing each slide progressively during the presentation, the audience sees what is currently being discussed without entirely losing sight of what went before. It seems like a lot of work, which is why you considered how important those anchors were to your commentary, and therefore the necessity for slides before you started. The next step is to convert each slide to a picture for projection. A useful feature in Windows 7 is the Snipping Tool, which is found on the Start menu. This little video clip shows how it is used. Try to clip the same size window for each slide so they are revealed smoothly in the presentation. See the sequence now played with Windows Live Photo Gallery, which comes with Windows 7. Let's now turn to pictures. You may wish, for example, to show a map in your presentation, and chances are it's one you got off the net or some other source. There is a good chance, too, that the map you acquired has a lot of unnecessary detail on it. Diagrams and maps displayed on a screen must be as simple and clear as possible. The only detail on it should be place names or other text which is pivotal to your commentary. Inevitably, the map you acquired needs some simplification. Otherwise, the audience is going to spend too much time reading unnecessary text or details rather than listening to you. Windows 7 does provide a tool which can be used, albeit a poor one. Microsoft Paint after Windows XP is clumsy and requires some patience. If it is not already on your Start menu, go to Start, All Programs, Accessories. This is a typical map from the internet. It needs lots of help, but it may be the only one available. Removing unwanted text from the map is achieved by carefully selecting some adjacent background and patching over the text. In places, the pen or line tool has to be used with an appropriate colour to restore features which have been obscured by text. This little clip demonstrates the process. I spent a little time on this work, and the changes to the image can clearly be seen. The original map has place names on what was a white background, which is supposed to make the text more readable. We generally try to insert text on a plain contrasting background, but it is not always easy. Another problem arose when the original map was saved as a JPEG. That format for images is called a lossy format. Definition is lost because adjacent cells bleed colour, making the boundaries between the cells and features fuzzy. The lower the quality of the JPEG, the poorer the image sharpness. When changes are made, it's better to save the image in bitmap format, which is not lossy, and bitmaps screen just as readily as JPEGs. A further problem with the original image is that most of the text is too small for optimum screen presentation. The next short clip demonstrates another option where the text is in a clearer zone and an arrow is used to designate the location the text refers to. This is very useful where place names coincide with busy features like roads and river crossings. A major deficiency in Paint is that the arrow shapes it provides can only be used in the vertical plane or the horizontal plane. If your arrow needs to point in any other direction, you have to use the line tool and construct the arrow head yourself. I have described some operations in Microsoft Paint because that program is already on Windows machines. However, to carry out the operations I have described, you would be well served to download a non-Microsoft free Paint program from the internet. A good choice might be PaintNet. This free program does everything the Microsoft program does, plus lots more. To insert text or shapes, like an arrow, you just create a layer on which to place the text or arrow. You can then rotate the layer to any angle. You will probably have to use the Shift tool to adjust the location of the new element. When the file is saved, the layers are flattened, as in Photoshop. In this image, contrast the arrows for all the new place names for the Indus River arrow, which was placed using PaintNet. Another major plus in PaintNet is the ability to resize files, as in this image, and have some control over the resolution and aspect ratio of your finished file, as seen in here. For landscape-oriented presentations, Choose pixel sizes between 1600 by 900 pixels and 800 by 450 pixels. Images smaller than 800 by 600 should be avoided, especially if they are low resolution to start with. Small images do not project well. If the sourced image is 4 by 3 aspect ratio, consider cropping them top and bottom to achieve the 16 by 9 ratio. Slides look best if they are all the same aspect ratio and all in landscape view. Most of all, try to achieve a very high image quality throughout the presentation. Poor quality images are distracting to your audience.